quickly. Does that make sense? What's going on? I can't process. So I'll use a prime example. You have a group like today. They couldn't keep up with what I was training because I talk fast. There's a lot of noise in the room, and it would be really hard for them to focus. What I process is changing. So how I interpret something when I have dementia is going to be different than you do. So they're going to think, well, this is what I heard you say. You said this, and you're like, no, no, no. That's what I processed. What I put out is changing. What I say to you is changing. The way I normally responded is different. But I'm doing the best I can with what I have left. That's a really hard thing for people to understand. I'm doing the best I can with what I have left. Do I have any control of how I act? No, I'm just doing the best I can with what I have left. And my skills will vary moment to moment. If you have Lewy body, you could maybe get yourself dressed this morning, and by tonight you can't do anything. You're going, you helped this morning, what's going on with you? It again is my disease. It's not I'm doing it on purpose to you. What I could do this morning may change from tonight. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on this? Okay. Do you hear what I hear? We're going to start talking about the senses now. Hearing does not change because you have dementia. It is the one sense that stays. However, they're hard of comprehending. They can't understand what you said, but they can hear you. I'm very loud, and when I take care of people with dementia, they'll yell at me and say, you don't have to yell at me. I'm not yelling, I'm really loud, but they think I'm treating them like they're hard of hearing. Your hearing is found in your temporal lobe. So if you can point to the side of your head above your ears, your ear takes in information, it goes up to this temporal lobe, and it has to travel through the brain. If you're looking for a person's name and voice, you're going to the back of your head. Would that take quite a while to get there if you had a form of dementia? Yeah, it takes a long time. It cannot handle the sounds that are going on between, the information of everything we're taking in. Facial recognition can be hard. So what I try to tell people is, families say, Mom doesn't remember me. No, Mom does. The memory of her daughter is super glued in her head. But if you ever drove through a construction zone, there's all kinds of obstacles, right? That's what's in their head, all kinds of obstacles. You've got the flags, you got construction workers, you got cement, and all these things, and she has to travel through all that to get to your name. So it may take her till the afternoon or 3 days from now to get to your name. Your name's still in there super glued, but it takes that long to get there. Does that make sense? Okay. Temporal lobe also interprets our emotions. So it's really hard for them sometimes to interpret what you're meaning by the sound of your voice. They don't know if sometimes if you're happy or not, because again, it's comprehending that. The connection between this and the emotions of pleasure, threat, and comfort and sadness are all tied up in this. We can hear from each other's emotions. How many of you have ever read a text and thought somebody was crabby and they weren't? Yeah, I'm reading and I'm like, oh my God, they're so mad at me. I hear they're not, but we interpret that. An exclamation point to me does not mean happy, it means Just depends on who reads it, okay? The hippocampus is right in your temporal lobes. That is where Alzheimer's disease is affected, even with DD. That's where it starts, okay? And that's really hard for people to store anything. That's where your memory of sounds and how they connect to events is stored there, okay? Your inner ear takes in the sound and converts it into a signal that goes into your brain. The brain gets the garbled message and you hear what's being said, but you can't quite make it out. They understand about 1 out of 4 words you say at the beginning of the disease. 1 out of 4 words. How many of you are talkers in here and can talk forever? Raise your hand, be proud of it.
You too.
We use what's called verbal diarrhea. We talk too much. I will look at somebody and go, okay, come on, let's stand up. That's too many words. It should be stand up. Does that make sense? The brain must find other sources to help us interpret what we're hearing and sounding and processing, and usually what goes is your working memory. Yes?
I'd like to bring something up.
Sure.
When it's hard of hearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was told to get a pocket talker.
Yes.
So you know about those?
I do know about pocket talkers.
And it's very helpful for anybody who has that problem.
It's very helpful, pocket talkers, if you're hard of hearing, and I'll tell you why. If you do not get a hearing aid, you have a higher chance of getting dementia if you have hearing loss, because your brain is on overload by the end of the day. That's why that pocket talker is so helpful, because it helps them understand those words. It's saying those words for them in a way they can understand. If you notice, the pocket talker doesn't talk in high pitch. We talk in high pitch. When we lean over, our pitch gets higher. In that pocket talker, it's more of a low monotone, not the high pitch. Does that make sense?
What is it? What's a pocket talker?
Yeah, what's a pocket talker?
You want to explain it?
I don't know how to explain it as well as I should, but it works very well.
It re-says what you're saying in a nice tone.
Where does it say it? Do you wear it?
Yeah. Yep. You're wearing it, right? He wears it, right?
Well, he has
Headphones.
hearing, no, the headphones,
Oh.
and a long cord comes with it, and you have a small little mechanism that you talk into. It has batteries,
Oh, and then he
and you
can,
hold it and you talk into it.
and then he hears it at a different
And
tone.
Yeah.
so
It's a complete different tone. So that's something.
Wow.
98% of people isolate their language skills in their left side of their brain, okay? So we're gonna stand up, because you guys need to stand up. One of the cool things about learning is there's many ways we learn, and I make you move and do things because I want you to learn. So we're gonna put our hands on the hips, because we've been here for a little while now. And we're going to sway to the left. When we sway to the left, I want you to say left, you lose. When we sway to the right, I want you to say right, you retain. Okay? Left, you lose. Right, you retain. Left, you lose. Right, you retain. Now when we go to left, we're going to say left is language, right is rhythm. Okay? Left is language, right is rhythm. Left is language, right is rhythm. Have a seat. So if we lose the left side of our brain first with dementia, all forms of dementia will affect the left side first. What does that mean? It means our language skills, but how do we communicate with people with dementia? We yap. Makes no sense. I've lost that ability. I keep rhythm. I keep automatic speech. That's why when people say, well, mom's just fine, she says mom's fine on the phone. Most children ask their parents what? How are you? How do they respond? Fine.
And how are you?
Oh, yeah, and how are you? What's new? Nothing. How's the weather? Great. We are automatic speech. If you say thank you, they say thank you. If you say please, yeah, yes or no questions, we're easy at that. But when we start getting down to the nitty-gritty, we're using too much language and not enough visual. They keep rhythm. What does that mean? They keep the ability to sing. All kinds of songs. You'd be like, God, mom's not talking, but she can sing. They keep the ability to swear and say things they're not supposed to. Because that was stuck in our head first. We put it in there with cement. All those things we weren't supposed to say, right? That is what stays, okay? So you think of rhythm also as our routines. We've done them over and over. This morning we talked about. You've gotten dressed the same way since you were about 5 years old. You're not gonna lose that ability as long as people do it the same way you've always done it, okay? What we hear is subject to hearing and listening. It's how we comprehend things.
I have a question going,
Yeah,
if I can, going back to what you said. Okay, so you say that it remembers the way you're dressing, and then
Yep.
earlier you said you want to change your routine so
because,
that,
yeah, so what I'm saying is I get dressed top to bottom is my norm, okay? The problem is I already know eventually we all end up in assisted living or nursing home. We don't want to, we say we're not going to, but that's probably where we're gonna end up. I don't want a nursing assistant to do something different that I don't know how to help because I really don't want anybody to get me dressed. So if I change my routine, there's a better chance of me being able to do it either way.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. I was just
Okay.
thinking about the other way, like
Yep,
now all of a
yeah.
sudden you're telling me I should do the same
Yep,
routine,
nope,
but yet,
nope,
Okay.
I'm just
Got
telling you to change it because there's a better chance you're gonna take care of yourself independently, okay?
thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Aging does impact our hearing 75%. As we age, our hearing has a harder time, okay? So making sure that we're having that looked at. We have a harder time detecting higher pitched sounds and distinguishing consonants. What are consonants? Do you remember way back in grade school?
Not the vowels.
Not the vowels, there you go. So your R's, your S's, your T's, those kinds of things are harder for them to hear. It affects 27 million people at the age of 50 or older will have some kind of hearing loss. Only 15% are getting hearing aids. Why? Expense. My son was deaf and hard of hearing. He had a viral infection, they thought. It broke his eardrum. At 3 years old, he wasn't getting along in school. He was the sweetest kid, and he was hitting kids. I couldn't figure it out. His eardrum had busted, and he needed to get a hearing aid. And every time his ear would grow, he needed a new mold, and the insurance didn't want to pay for it. That is a really hard thing because insurances aren't wanting to pay for it. I've seen a lot of people go to Gander Mountain or those kinds of things and getting those hearing devices for when they're hunting. That does help, and they're cheap. You have to switch them out a lot, but doing something because we really need to get your hearing taken care of. If you have mild hearing loss and you don't get it taken care of, you're 2 times more likely to develop dementia because your brain is on overload. Severe hearing loss, 5 times more likely. That's why it's really important for people to be wearing hearing aids.
What about tinnitus? And so I heard something about it affects dementia with.
Yep, yep.
I mean, it's not affecting your hearing, but it's.
No, it's a tightening. Everything tightens. If you think of stress or thinking of you never releasing anything, that you've got this tight stress on your blood vessels and on your oxygen, on everything, it's really hard for you to release. It's the pressure. You're on overload. You're on overload.
With the tinnitus, you are?
Yeah, yep.
Also, if you wait too long, it's possible that they can't even help you.
Yeah, if you wait too long, it's sometimes that they can't help you. Absolutely. Absolutely. With hearing, I want you to say 3 words for me. Are you guys ready? And I want you to say them quick. Dime, time, fine.
Dime, time, fine.
Faster. Dime, time, fine.
Dime, time, fine.
Dime, time, fine.
Dime, time, fine.
Now I want you to think about your lips and your tongue. How are they changing when you're using that? And your teeth? Dime, time, fine. Dime, time, fine. Dime, time, fine. Are they very similar?
Uh-huh.
That is what they hear when you're saying words that are that close together. And they can't decipher. Now, imagine you said dime, but you really were talking about time. I took it as time. Is it time to go? And you said dime. Can you give me your dime? Do you see why sometimes they're misinterpreting things? Because they're so close together, those consonants. Okay? They lose the ability to know where the sound is coming from. Okay? So I want you to partner up again. One of you is gonna sit in the chair with your eyes closed. I need you to put your hands underneath your butt, so decide who's gonna do that.
Here it is.
Oh, you already made the decision? Okay.
I'm there already.
Those of you, one person sits, hands underneath the butt, close your eyes. The other one, I want you to stand up. And you can come from any way you want to, but I want you to poke your partner. I don't care where, that's not my business. You just poke your partner, come from way away whenever you're ready. Poke them a couple times. Oh my goodness, I have some jumpy people in here. All right, have a seat. What did you guys notice, those of you in the chair? Was it uncomfortable? Did you know where it was coming from? Not really, and if you didn't know where it was coming from, would it be hard for you to comprehend?
Yeah, probably, I understand.
All right, I want you to close your eyes right now and tell me what you hear in this room. Anybody hearing any sounds?
I hear the projector.
You hear the projector. If you had dementia, would you know that's a projector?
I hear something running.
You hear something running.
And I can hear buzzing.
And if you couldn't tell anybody, could that upset you? Yeah. Most of the time, you're going to see people don't know where the sounds are coming from. It's sending them a different message. You hear speakers, TVs. If you walk into a hospital or a nursing home, what do you hear? TVs, radio, buzzers going off, the doors slamming and coming, and people talking. Would that be hard to decipher what's going on?
People yelling.
People yelling, yes. Absolutely, I'm dying, I'm stroking. The ability to follow a multi-person conversation. How many of you have a hard time keeping up in a big room with everybody talking? Now imagine you have dementia. It's really hard to keep up. You also lose the ability to get stuff from the background noises to decipher if this is part of the conversation or not. What you need to know is that you and the person may not be taking in the same auditory data. If you're taking care of somebody with dementia, close your eyes. Do you hear what they're hearing? Because oftentimes we're not bothered by somebody clicking a pen over here. They are. You guys, it's huge for you.
Yes.
All those little things are what's causing behaviors. Okay? Or somebody doing this. It could be somebody rubbing their feet together. That will bother them. Huge. Blending the data from each side in the same way or processing the language. You guys may not be in the same way on what words you're using. Watching facial information. People with any form of dementia read your body language before they read anything else. They know if you're happy to be there. They already know if you've had a rough day. They can read it off of you, okay? They have difficulty when trying to find and use specific words. They can't get those words out anymore. They may talk around the word. Well, that's what I said. Well, that's what I meant. Replace words with one of the same sounding letters. So if it has a B, they may say bedroom and they really want a bathroom. Okay? Use vague, non-specific words, or nouns tend to disappear. You'll start to notice nouns get less. It's hard. Questions on this?
Can I make a statement?
Sure.
I have a hard time with finding words to use.
Yeah.
And I've always had that, but like 25 years ago, I had brain surgery, so, it's worse.
So your brain surgery, was it on a tumor?
It was, it was a leaking aneurysm, nothing big.
Okay. What side of the brain?
Right, I mean left.
Left. Temporal lobe, right?
Was right, they said right behind, my senses for smelling, and so I lost my senses of smell for like a year.
Okay, so your left side is language, so those words, that's pretty normal for you to have that going on. Yep. Yep. She made a good point. If you had surgery on the left side of your brain, those kinds of things could affect it. Traumatic brain injury on the left side, you can see this, okay? Keep background noise to minimal. Speak using a slow, deep tone. I speak fast. I can't do that when I'm working with someone with dementia. If you lean, you get higher pitched. Get down low, like this, and you keep your pitch, okay? Purposeful music, things that they like to hear and don't like to hear are important. I hate birds. I had a woodpecker come into my house when I had 2 twins and try to attack me, I feel. I don't like bird sounds. That would not be soothing to me, but a lot of places pay bird sounds. That would not be okay for me, okay? So what happens to your taste buds? Any questions on hearing before we go on? Okay, taste buds. We have bitter, sour, sweet, and salty. You keep 2. What 2 do you keep?
Sweet and salty.
I hear some sweet and salty. Raise your hand if you think you keep sweet and salty. You are wrong. It's bitter and sour. You need 3 times more sugar and 3 times more salt to taste. That's why you see people dumping tons of sugar into their coffee, because coffee tastes bitter. That's why you hear people say this food tastes like shit here. Because they need 3 times more salt to taste. You guys are going to see a big change in that. You'll see the eating habits change. That's one of those early signs too. So if that's the case, when I started in healthcare, I was told you crush medications, you put them in applesauce. Applesauce is bitter, folks, and they spit out the med. So I was told, crush it, you put it in pudding. Is pudding supposed to be chunky? No, so they swallow the pudding. What do they do with the pills? Throw them down. Put them in something that has some consistency if you can't crush all those meds, like yogurt or ice cream that has chocolate chips in it. Anything that's really good and sweet but not bitter, okay? The taste buds change dramatically. Do you see it right away? No, it's as the disease progresses. You guys are gonna see it right away, almost immediately. When those sensory things change in the bathroom, they can't do those skills, you will see changes in diet. What are some concerns about eating and drinking, and what can we do about it? 1, you need to watch their appetite. Are they eating less than what they normally ate? If so, it definitely could be some changes with dementia, but it could be other things. Is their weight changing? What are they eating? What are they chewing, swallowing? Any issues with that? The amount eaten. Are they using their hands when they eat, or are they using utensils yet? Bathroom habits. Are they tending to go to the bathroom before a meal? How many of you cannot eat if you have a full bladder and have to pee? How many of you can't eat if you're constipated? Yeah, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm not going to eat. Hygiene. You guys especially, if their hands feel dirty, they may be only focused on that and won't eat. Or vice versa. They like the stickiness, okay? Communication, social skills. How many of you eat alone? If you eat alone, do you want to be at a table with somebody who's drooling and going and sneezing across the table? Would you eat? Who is mom sitting with? Who are they sitting with? Do they want to sit there? Also, how many of you would be embarrassed that somebody's watching you eat? Could be an issue. So look at behaviors at meals. Could it be a change in health? If I have heartburn, could I be not eating as well? Yeah. Could I have denture or mouth issues and I'm not eating? Yeah, did anybody check their mouth? Does the dentures fit? As we age, do our dentures keep fitting like they're supposed to? No. Could it be I have problems there? Drug interactions. There's a lot of medications that do not encourage you to eat. Could be that issue. Who am I? What is my normal routine? Do I like sitting with a bunch of people? Do I get irritated pretty quickly if somebody's drooling? Do I have too many choices? Oftentimes, we get asked, what? What do you want to eat for supper, honey? If you have dementia, is that too many questions? Too many choices? Yeah. Do you want something hot or cold to drink? Do you want mashed potatoes or french fries? Giving just a few choices. Personal preference, that can change as well, of what I want to eat. I'll use a prime example. My grandmother grew up in a time where you ate meat, potatoes. She hated spaghetti, tacos, lasagna. She went to St. Otto's and she stopped eating. She was spitting out the spaghetti, tacos, lasagna, and automatically the RN there said what? Oh my God, she needs a swallowing valve. She is not eating her food. She's definitely going to choke. We cannot give her things. Well, the doctor couldn't get her in. Family had 5 children. 3 said, absolutely, yep, we got to do this. We got to get her. We do not want her to choke. 2 said, no, Mom eats chocolate when we come to visit. She eats grapes. She don't like spaghetti sauce. They got overruled by the other 3 children and the nurse, and Grandma was put on a pureed diet. 2 weeks later, she died. We have to know people's preferences. My grandma was never going to eat that stuff. Never. How many of you would eat that stuff? I'd rather choke, But some people like Ensure. If only you chose to eat ice cream and roast beef sandwiches, is that a big deal? Heck no, at that point in your life, it's okay. Advancing dementia changes my abilities. If I can't eat with a spoon anymore, you might be better to give me sandwiches or finger food like chicken strips, those kinds of things. Also, I may not sit long enough for meals. So you might have to change in that I eat a small little breakfast, and then about 10 o'clock I have a small little snack, and then about noon I have a tiny, maybe half a sandwich, because I'm not using a lot of my energy. I'm not going to eat as much, but giving me more food at different times. Does that make sense? Questions on this? Give me what's familiar. Not many people in this area eat gyros, right? Right. That would be the norm here. Just like if you go to the cities, they don't serve a lot of sauerkraut in nursing homes. It's not the norm. What matches your taste and textures? How many of you are there foods you cannot eat? Like what?
Protein.
Protein? Is that what you said?
The powdered protein.
Oh, powdered protein, not be your thing. You guys learned in the other class, green beans are not mine. No pickles, no mustard. Making sure we know that about people. Make sure that we have healthy options for people. Can we give, they have like Mrs. Dash instead of salt to them. Yeah, let them put a whole bunch on it. It's not going to hurt them as much as salt is. Lower sugar, for us, smaller portions, to keep that healthy brain of ours going and more fluids. Things that are easy to chew for people that have dementia. Watermelon, applesauce, tomatoes cubed, mandarin oranges, kiwis, grapes if you start having them, strawberry slices with peaches. Apples are not the greatest for them. They have a hard time with the skin and they will choke. Blueberries, if they keep putting too many in their mouth, most of the time when you have Lewy body or you get to an amber stage, you will shovel food in your mouth. And then I'm going to choke. So watching how much I'm putting in. Pineapples, oranges, grapes, grapefruit. Those are some ideas for you that are not the greatest. Potatoes are good. Vegetable soup. Here's the other thing. If you have Lewy body, remember I talked to you guys about tremors? They're going to have a really time getting tomato soup up to their mouth. Broccoli and cheese soup. Anything, you have to have it real thick and consistent or they're going to spill it and they're just going to stop eating, folks, because they can't do it independently. Okay? Drinking problems. As we have dementia, we get a lack of thirst. We don't remember we're thirsty, so offering more fluids is huge because we have a higher chance of getting urinary tract infection. We lack the skills to find fluid. I don't know where to look. I don't remember that the fridge might have some water, or I'm looking at that faucet. Do you know how many different faucets there are out there right now to turn on in different ways? Some you put your hand under, some you got to grab the hand. You don't know. It may be hard for me. Limited opportunity medications, they make me more thirsty or less. I hear this all the time from people that are aging. Oh my God, I can't drink that. I'll have to be up all night. I'll be in my pants. And so they stop drinking as much as they should because the fear of incontinence and different types of fluid can be a problem. Add water or ice to juice. How many of you do not like plain water? Yeah, I need some foo-foo in my water. Offer flavored water. Offer soup. Feel like I have to sneeze. Any questions on food? That was just a brief overview.
What are visual cues?
So visual cues for eating are making sure that you have the table set up. Or you have a pitcher. If you have a pitcher, automatically, when people walk past it, what are they going to want to do? Pour it. If you have a pitcher and you have water here, they're going to automatically walk past it and pour it because that's what you do with a pitcher. They know there's a visual cue there. But if there's nothing out for me that I can have a drink, I won't know. So I'll use an example. Most nursing homes and assisted livings have salt and pepper shakers on the table. Well, you'll see people walk by all day and dumping it in their mouth. Because that was a visual for them to grab it. They don't know what they're supposed to do with it. But if you would have a pitcher of ice water there, you're going to have a higher chance of them drinking. Smells. Smells change dramatically when you have dementia as well. They do not smell smoke and burning. Now, this does not mean for those people that hate cigarette smoke. So that's your preference. I do not like cigarette smoke. It irritates me. That's still there. I'm talking about they put a kettle on the stove. They start it up. And they don't remember it. All of a sudden, you've got a fire. They're not going to smell that. They do not smell safety awareness of fires. Does that make sense? Chemicals in cleaning. When I go to put up that bleach to my mouth, I don't know it's not water. I can't smell that that is a cleaning chemical and not water. That's why I say to lock things up of that kind of thing, because I can't tell the difference. Especially if you don't have those bottles just right. Waste odors. I cannot smell that I haven't wiped well. Or I haven't washed for days. Easiest trick I can tell you if you're trying to get a loved one into a shower or something is I will put something on my cant. Usually it's ketchup because it's red and it's bright. And I'll shake hands with Grandmama. The ketchup drops on her beautiful pants. And I say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Grandma. I didn't mean to get ketchup. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Automatically, what does Grandma do with her pants? Change it. And I say, Grandma, I'll have to buy you a new pair of pants. She goes, yes, you will. Doing that. Now, did I make her change her pants? No, but did she do it for me and I needed her to? Yes. Sticky, icky, they're not going to see though. I've tried syrup. They don't see it, but they see bright red, if you think of that. Jello, that kind of thing. Also, if your loved one loves to wear the same clothes, buy them a whole bunch of the same clothes. Okay? Other thing, they don't smell spoiled, rotted food. My grandmother had 3 fridges. You would go into the fridge, you could smell the rotted milk when you got there, or something rotted. You would grab out the jug. There was no liquid in there, folks, and she would dump it in her cup and drink it. They don't smell that rotted food, so it's really hard because when they're living home alone, is there a good chance they're eating rotted food? Yeah. Oh yeah, huge. Huge. Supporting smells the food that they like. You know it when you walk into a place and go, oh, I love that smell, I can't wait to have whatever. Calming sense. The things that calm you. What calms you? What kind of smells calm you?
Campfire.
Campfire, absolutely. I even have a candle from Walmart that sounds like the campfire. Oh my God, I love that candle. It just makes my day. At the end of the day, I have a campfire in my kitchen. We keep those abilities. We also keep stimulating senses that stimulate and go, oh, that smells so good. Where is that coming from? It can be perfume. Perfume can also trigger us in the opposite way. I don't like this smell, it reminds me of this gal I didn't like, I may not like you. Okay? Questions on senses, on the smell. Okay. Now we're going to talk about vision. Vision changes dramatically. Dramatically. So I need you to stand up. Vision is the most powerful data we take in. When you came in today, automatically use your vision to see where you should sit, what you should do. If you were driving here and you heard sirens, automatically what would you do? Pull over and you look behind to make sure they're behind you, right? We use our vision all day. So I want you to stand looking face forward and put your arms up. And I want you to wiggle your fingers. And I want you to keep looking forward until you can see your fingers wiggling on each side. You might have to move your arms forward or back, depending on what you need. This is your peripheral vision. This is what allows you to stop at the stop sign when the car's not going to stop. When we age, our peripheral vision starts shrinking. Do you notice that? It shrinks. It starts to slowly shrink. Our vision is in the back of our head. This is somebody with dementia. You can't see it well because of this background, but there's a big hole in the back. Vision is one of the biggest senses that changes when you have dementia. With every new stage of dementia, there is a change in your eyesight. And there's nothing you can do about it. No eye doctor is going to be able to change it, okay? A sapphire is you and I. You guys can sit down for a little bit. Sapphire is you and I. We don't have any form of dementia, but as we age, our peripheral vision shrinks. Okay? A diamond is you and I when we're upset. So when we're upset, we have a tunnel vision. Oh, I'm so mad at him. And all we can focus on is being mad. We don't see anything else. Tunnel vision is straight ahead of you. Okay? So I want you to kind of put your hands like this and focus just straight ahead of you. When you're mad, is there things that you don't notice because you're looking straight ahead or straight at the... Yeah, and then somebody comes and pokes you, and what do? Oh! Because you're so mad, you weren't focusing on it. The interesting thing about us is when we're done being mad, we go back to sapphire. When you have a form of dementia, you can't go back to the other stage. Does that make sense? You will continue progressing. So once you're a diamond, you are a diamond. You can be between a diamond and the next stage, but you'll never go back to a sapphire. Okay? Next one is emerald. These are people that they still can help get dressed, but they might put 2 pairs of underwear on, or they may forget their underwear. They then the next day are dressed just fine. They may be able to have a conversation with you, and the next day they're going, where are we supposed to go on our trip again? Oh, okay, yeah. So they're starting to have some skill loss. They have binocular vision. Okay, so if you think of diamonds as kind of a scuba mask, binocular vision. So I want you to kind of walk around the room with binoculars on and tell me what you see when you put binoculars on. You don't have to if you want to stay in your spot, but look at the floor.
Yeah.
Kind of look around because these are people, I mean, you are walking with your loved one who has binoculars.
Yeah.
What do you notice is different? You don't see the whole picture. You don't see the whole picture. So if you have somebody who's still driving with binoculars on, do we have a problem? Huge problem. And I will tell you, there are people still driving with binoculars on because nobody sees that much of a difference in mom. Okay? Binoculars is a huge issue. What I want you to do is go back with your partner. Will you come up here to be my partner just quick so I can show them? One of you is going to have dementia, so you put your binoculars on and sit right here. And whoever has dementia and has the binoculars on, you put those on. And I want you guys to come in with your biggest grin and just smile at them. Nice and close like this. Ready?
Oh.
Do that to your partner and then switch and tell me what you feel.
So
almost scary.
Oh, that was my face. I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, you're not standing.
I get it.
That was cute.
I don't even see it because you have your face together. It's your hand.
So those of you that were in the chair and got binoculars on, what did you notice when somebody leaned in?
It's kind of frightening.
It's,
It just
it's,
happens.
it's frightening. And do you have a chance to really respond? Now imagine if they would have touched you as well. What would you have given as a response?
Hit him.
I can't. Does this happen to people with dementia? Yeah, we don't mean it. We don't mean it. We're Minnesota nice, and we come in and we lean in because this is where we usually stop to talk to people, right?
Right.
And we're leaning in, and whoa, I didn't expect you. Okay? The next stage is an amber. These are the people that most of the time are starting to be in a facility. They wander around, they don't know what's going on. They can't understand the movement. So they can't recognize objects. So a pen might be a fork for me to eat with. A napkin might be something I need to eat. Does that make sense? I don't know that this is a rocking chair and I fall back. A ruby is those later stage. I don't get very many words out. I have a hard time walking, and I have what's called binocular vision. So I want you to close one eye and put a binocular on the other, and I want you to stare at this floor, look around the room. Tell me what you notice changes. Does the floor look closer or farther away?
Closer.
Closer. Binoculars change your depth perception, and this is where you get people falling like crazy because, whoa, it looks closer. You'll have people reaching out in the air, and you don't know what they're reaching for. It's, oh my God, Mom's hallucinating. She's reaching to shut off the TV that looks like it's right next to her. She's trying to reach for things and not getting things at the table because it looks closer. Okay? Does that make sense? I want you to put your binocular on, one of you, and you'll switch again, and I want you to lean in with your biggest grin, because these are people that you're worried because they're sitting there all day, and you go, hey, Dad, you want something to eat? Hey, Daddy! See how they feel now?
Just one? Yeah, that's what she said, because you might do that. All they see is the corner, like you're
How is that? If you stare at this floor long enough, the floor will start moving. Just so you know, it looks like bugs. It's not dementia friendly because it starts moving. The same thing if you notice blinds. A lot of people have metal blinds in their home. That can be tinging. The high sensory for you guys walking around this way and this way in your building, it'll tell you what you need to change. Because you'll see things moving that they'll see, and they're really not hallucinating. Those are irritants for them. The DD population has very high sensory-driven changes, and so for them, they have to change things in their building to get so you don't have reactions or behaviors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The last stage is a pearl. They have very limited regard. That's the last stage that they're going through, often on hospice. They're going to see shadows, very small glimpses of things. Questions on vision. Okay. Yes, a little bit. So they lose the peripheral vision. They lose depth perception and object recognition. They're slower to scan and focus what they can do. But they can see things in the middle. So we have a tendency to lean forward when we talk. Men, not so bad, which, yay. But women, we have a tendency to lean forward. If I lean forward, what am I giving Dad to look at in his tunnel vision? My boobs. And he grabs them and you go, Daddy, you know better. He doesn't know what these are, folks. He's just looking at his tunnel vision, grabbing.
Right.
Okay? Name tags. I hate these name tags of Horizon cows because they dangle and they don't know what's dangling and moving and they're gonna grab it, and if it's attached to my boob, they're gonna grab my boob too. Doctor's office, you guys wear the nice big ones that hang. However, some of the doctors attach it down to their pants, and then my women grab the pants, and they're
We're
in
not,
trouble.
that's why we're not supposed to wear it below our waist.
Yeah, but sometimes you'll get a few that, you know, and even there, this is dangling. We used to have metal name tags where I worked. Those are helpful because they don't move. Also, if you're doing this, what can somebody behind you see? And they grab. So watching that, because they're looking at what's curious. Okay, you can have a seat. Flooring. I told you this floor is not good. Tonight, I want you to go home, and I want you to put your tunnel vision on and your binocular, and I want you to open up your toilet. And I want you to stare inside. It looks like a deep, dark hole. Would you sit down on a deep, dark hole? So oftentimes when I'm toileting somebody and they're having vision issues and I can't get them in the bathroom, the first thing I change is I put a towel on the toilet seat after I've opened it. And I go get them. I bring them close to the chair. Because if you have this vision, can you back up? No, oftentimes when we toilet somebody at a nursing home or assisted living, the staff will put them here and goes, take some steps back. And they fall. Okay? We have to get them up close to the toilet, number one, turn them, and then I'll say sit down, and I pull the towel away because they don't see that deep, dark hole. Same thing with showers. They look and see those holes in the shower, and it looks like I'm gonna fall down. I'm not taking a bath from you or taking a shower. I covered up with a towel. Can we do that? Yeah. It's safe for me because that scares me. Plates, if they're not eating well. Imagine having chicken, corn, and mashed potatoes on a plate. They visually can't see it, folks, or decipher what it is. Put it on blue or red, and they'll eat better. Toilets, if they're peeing all over the floor. Remember, everything's white in a bathroom. It looks like things are bobbing. They have no idea. I can't distinguish between anything. So you might have them peeing in the sink, peeing wherever. Put a different colored toilet seat on, blue, pink. I had a lady who was having problems with her husband. He'd get in the tub, but then he wouldn't hop out. She had a brown mat down, dark chocolate brown. That looks like a deep, dark hole. The colors that work well for people with dementia are bright colors. Her orange shirt today draws their eye. Hot pinks, teals, bright yellows, neon greens. That quilt over there will draw people in with the teals and the blues. Browns and reds, that, not so much. You have to have those bright neon colors. When you see that, and I'll tell you, they pay attention to that. They will pay attention. I have less behaviors where I wear the bright colors. This today, I would not do well at work. They pay attention to your footwear. Because if you notice when you're walking around with your binoculars today, you are looking down. You want them to pay attention, or you want to get them to go, ah. They'll notice your shoes. Try wearing 2 different shoes. You guys to work, they will notice you're wearing different shoes before your coworkers will. Seriously, I've tried it. They do. Because they look at your feet. Bright colored socks. They pay attention. Bright colors. Mirrors. I'm not a big fan of mirrors because as we age, when they tell me, hey, look at you, Dad, you look so great. I may look like I'm 80 and I think I'm 18 today. That can be a trigger for me. Okay? Where we put signs. That's a huge deal because if you're looking down, should the name be up here on the door or should it be down here where the handle is?
Handle.
Where the handle is. That is dementia friendly, is where the handle is, not up here. You're doing that for the people that are coming in that don't have dementia. The people that do need it down here because they go into the wrong bathrooms. Have you ever been at Perkins and you have a man in your bathroom? I have, because, yeah, exactly. Sometimes we have to, but that does happen. Hallways should be a bright color so they know where to go. How to use a door. How many of you are struggling with this door here? Should I pull it? Should I push it? I don't know. That's helpful. Because then they know what to do. If they're living in their own house, they may not know how to open or close things anymore. Questions on this? Okay.
Also, I see a lot of places that people are in wheelchairs and they've got signs up instead of
Yes,
where they are.
at the eye level, and that's really, really hard for people. Very hard. Try not to have glare, or things in their eyes. Bright light bothers their eyes, so they're gonna close their eyes. They're really not tired, but the lights are shining in my eyes. Clutter. I don't know how to get around it, but please don't take everything out of my environment. Because if I have nothing to do, am I gonna find something to do? Yes. So you have to have a balance, okay? I can see, so please give color, something to draw attention for me. White and black, it looks like you guys are bobbing. Make sure you're wearing bright colors, okay? So now we're gonna talk about touch, okay? Touch changes as well. How many of you have had a little baby laying on the ground, or you're holding him and you give him your fingers? What does the baby do?
Grab it.
Grab it. And what do you say when the baby grabs your finger? Oh, look at how cute, look at how strong they are! Now you shake hands with somebody with dementia and they squeeze you really hard, and what do you say? Ouch, God dang it, let go of me, what are you doing? I didn't believe this. I went to Tipa Snow, she's one of the trainers that I work with, and she said there is a reason for it. I'm like, I love to hear, because I've been pinched, I've been hit, and I know they don't mean it, but I don't know why they squeeze so hard. So I want you to take your hand and want you to draw a line right here. These 3 fingers are your manipulator fingers since the day you were born. They go up into your brain and say, this is how you button a button, zip a zipper, tie a shoe. When you have dementia, are you able to do any of those things eventually? No, you lose those skills. Those skills are hard. These 2 fingers are your strength fingers. They say you're holding a baby, be gentle.
It's starting again.
This whole hand becomes strength. It becomes strength. So I want to teach you today a new skill so you can avoid being squeezed, okay? It works for a lot of different things, but I want to teach you how to avoid it. Tasha, can you come up? So it's called hand under hand. Hand under hand. Not hand over hand, hand under hand, okay? So what I do is I want one of you to decide who has dementia. Raise your hand if you have dementia. Yep. Oh, no, I will. Okay. Those of you who have dementia, I want you to shake hands, and the one that has dementia, I want you to squeeze your partner's hand pretty good. Do not hurt it, but squeeze it real good. Okay, got that? Then what we're gonna do is those of you who have dementia, we're gonna shake your hand, and for those of you who don't, remember to make a butterfly. Do you see how we make a butterfly with our thumbs? And the person with dementia's hand goes on top, and I want you to squeeze now. Do you notice a difference in their strength? What happened? Is it gone? Yeah, I've taken their strength away. So now I want you to switch, and you do it the opposite way, so the other person has dementia, so you can feel it. You squeeze. Okay, then you go like this. Yeah, put your hand in, the dementia person's hand on top, squeeze. You have no strength. So practice that with your partner a little bit. Will you stay here? Because I'll need you for a couple things. I can? Okay, thank you. Stay here. Okay, what do you guys notice? Does anybody need help with it first? No? Okay, so I'll show you. What's your name? Kathy. So Kathy, if I have dementia, oftentimes you'll get them, I don't want to hurt you, but they'll squeeze really hard right here. Then when I shake hands with you, if I have dementia and I squeeze here, I don't have any strength. I'm squeezing as hard as I can. I lose my strength. Does that make sense? Why do we put the dementia person's hand on top?
They can feel more, touch, or they're in control.
In control. They're in control. So oftentimes, I told you guys that my grandmother's had dementia. When you have Lewy body, or you get to that other stages where they're not paying attention to you, oftentimes you'll see people go, Dad, I'm right here. Dad, look at me, I'm talking to you. Does that work?
No.
They get mad. So instead, I'll shake hands with them and I'll be sitting here. I want you to look around. I will take this hand, my open hand, and I'll put a little squeeze on top of their hand. Automatically, if you feel something, what do? You turn and look towards it. And I'll go, hey, Dad, how are you? And he'll be, I'm great, I didn't know you were here. They automatically will look at you. Whether you're passing a med or you just want them to focus on you, anytime you feel something, you look at it. The other reason I do hand under hand is sometimes I have to help Dad wash his face. And if I go up to him and go, Dad, let me wash your face, he goes, no, 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 because he wants to be independent, right? But if I put the washcloth here and say, Dad, you got something right here. And we wash together, whose hand does he see washing?
His.
Yeah. Works very, very well. Can I help Dad eat?
Put your rag.
Yeah, most of the time people are trying, here, Dad, here's a spoonful. They can't see it. But if we do it this way, automatically you want to open your mouth.
I was sitting here with my mouth closed, can't eat with my mouth closed.
But do you want to open your mouth when I do this? Does it feel natural compared to this?
I mean, yes.
Yeah. We do a lot of this when we feed people. It does better if you do this. Same motion. Does that make sense? Try that with your partner. Try to get them to focus on you by just a little squeeze. Try that.
Put your hands on top. You've got because I see my hand up, so I think I'm feeling myself.
Now you be the.
Here, I'll show you.
I'd be on both sides. Yeah, still you can do it. She has the arms like this.
Okay, but what if you're trying to feed them?
Yeah, you put the spoon in between here.
My hand,
Yep.
and then.
And you get to know.
Most of the time we're going through this.
Yes, that's what I was seeing in the house.
Yeah. Questions on that? Does that make sense? Temperature. We all have a certain degree of temperature. We like things. I want burning hot food. How many of you do?
No.
You don't want burning hot supper meal?
Burn my mouth.
No, I need it hot. Is that important to know about the people you serve? Yeah.
So you got the.
Surfaces. Are they able to work at them? I've seen so many facilities that the tables are too high for somebody in a wheelchair. And it's hard, so then I can't have independence anymore. Is this space, you can go back, thank you. Is this space familiar? Did I get to keep my chair that I love to sit in? Do I feel like it's a friendly environment that I can succeed at? How many of you have been in a place where you feel like you can't make a mistake or you'll be in trouble? You don't want that for the people you're taking care of. You want them to make a mistake. It's okay. It's no big deal. And be forgiving. So I'm going to teach you one last thing. I guess, Tasha, I have one more thing to show you. Sorry. So oftentimes we touch people when we go to visit mom, dad, or spouse, and we do finger touches. If you ever see, oh, hey, Dad, we don't do a good, firm grip on them, okay? And that feels kind of like bugs when you get to those middle stages. So we're going to give each other's massages to end the day. But how we massage is I want you to use this part right here and no fingers. I want you to bend your fingers like this. And I want you to do big circles. Big circles and massage your friend's back.
That feels really good. Thanks.
You're welcome. How many of you are getting a little relaxed now? No hyperness, right? It's much better. When you're doing this, there's too many sensory going on. When you do this and big circles, it goes much better. switch so everybody gets a chance to do it. I'll only do it to you because,
I can like this.
no, that's good. All right, how is that? Yeah, I think so, yes. Okay. Questions on that? How did that feel?
That's, they don't like that.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah? So, I had an interesting journey. I've been in different healthcare. And the one day, I don't think you were at St. Camillus anymore, but they called me. We have this guy, high behavioral. And he was roaming around, I hate it here, and he's stomping his feet. And so I'm walking with him, and we're stomping our feet. And I go, God, I'm getting tired. Can't we sit down? And he goes, fine. So he pulls up a chair for me. I sit down, and I go, God, oh, I'm just so tired. I said, what a day. I sure could use a massage. He goes, yeah, me too. I started rubbing him, and he pulled me, and he took me to the dining room, and he laid his whole body across this long table and got a massage. He hadn't been that way for 3 weeks. All it was that deep massage. Sometimes we have to think outside the box, folks. Just what would soothe us? All of you kind of calm down like we're ready for our naps. What calms us? Talked about hand in hand. Questions for me? I'll answer anything you come up with, so throw them at me.
And that's what I do for myself, is get a massage. At least
Good.
once a month.
And you need to do that.
Yeah.
That's okay. What else? Other questions for me? So I'm going to give you this. If you guys need anything, this is Horizon Health's phone number. Lola over there will direct you wherever it needs to be. This is my personal email, so if you needed to have a question, my last day at Horizon Health is Friday. But feel free to ask. I may not get to you right away, but I will answer your question. Questions for me? Yes.
When I visit my husband now, he doesn't talk anymore,
Yep.
very little.
Yep.
It's like he can't think of anything to say or whatever, I mean, he's not capable, I think, of something to say. I ask him how he is, he goes like that. He's not a drug, but, I ask him if he likes his food, and he'll say, he doesn't talk, he doesn't.
How about using something instead of words? So wonder if you went there and I don't know if they have a CD player, because I don't know which facility he's at, but playing songs that were familiar to you and him. I bet you could get him to sing or tap his foot.
Well, then again, I'll say like, he's got binoculars, and I said to him, use your binoculars. Oh yeah, and I said, well, have you seen anything today? And he said, yeah, I saw a blonde running out there with her bikini. Then he could talk. So, I don't understand.
So words are gonna be really hard for him, and we're questioning him. He's not gonna have much success because he loses language. So you're better off to maybe sing with him, maybe look through the binoculars together, because do you think he remembers what happened in a day?
No, he doesn't remember anything.
No. So instead of setting him up for not being able to answer, I would be prepared in my visit. Because my grandmother did visit a lot. So I brought recipe cards to look at. I brought photo albums to look at, something different for their room. I brought music so that we could listen to. You could bring the newspaper, anything. They may not answer a lot, but doing some of those things might be really helpful for you.
Yeah, I bring a paper for him all the time. He
Yeah.
does look at that.
Give them something purposeful to do. It might be just the pictures. I like to keep calendars. So, you know all those wonderful pictures that are in calendars? If you pull those out and you put them in a binder, they really like looking that you could look at this kid and you could go, hey, honey, what do you think that little boy's name is in that picture that's driving that John Deere tractor? That might get some conversation for you that you're both looking at the same thing. That's what I would do. Yeah.
I have that album.
Yeah, you're a great caregiver. He's very lucky to have you.
I'm not a caregiver anymore, but
Oh, you are, because guess what? It never stops. Even though he doesn't live with you, you still know him better than anybody else does. What else? Any other questions I can answer?
Who's, my mind, Tony, the singer, sings with Lady Gaga.
Tony Bennett.
Yes,
Yes.
Tony Bennett is his son,
Okay.
Lady Gaga.
He has the Alzheimer's and he is doing great when he's singing.
Yep.
And that's one thing my husband has said, if I start losing it, he sang with the group out of Brainerd.
Sure.
And he said, play those, I'll sit here and sing along.
You'll be surprised how music will click a memory. It will click that memory, or a picture will trigger a memory. Those are huge, absolutely. They keep that ability a long time before they're gonna be able to hold a conversation with you. Anything else? Well, I'm here for a while, so if you have questions before you leave, please feel free, come up and ask me. Otherwise, thank you for a nice session, I appreciate it.
Thank you.